This is the Quotations of Chairman Mao Zedong, also known as the Little Red Book. Chapter 10, Leadership of Party Committees. The party committee system is an important party institution for ensuring collective leadership and preventing any individual from monopolizing the conduct of affairs. It has recently been found that in some, of course not all, leading bodies, it is the habitual practice for one individual to monopolize the conduct of affairs and decide important problems. Solutions to important problems are decided not by party committee meetings, but by one individual, and membership in the party committee has become nominal. Differences of opinion among committee members cannot be resolved and are left unresolved for a long time. Members of the party committee maintain only formal, not real, unity among themselves. This situation must be changed. From now on, a sound system of party committee meetings must be instituted in all leading bodies, from the regional bureaus of the Central Committee to the prefectural party committees. Prefecture. So prefectural party committees. From the party committees of the fronts to the party committees of brigade and military areas. Subcommissions of the Revolutionary Military Commission or leading groups, and the leading party members' groups in government bodies, people's organizations, the news agency, and the newspaper offices. All important problems, in brackets, of course not the unimportant trivial problems or problems whose solutions have already been decided after discussion at meetings and need only be carried out, must be subjected to the committee for discussion, and the committee members present should express their views fully and reach definite decisions, which should then be carried out by the members concerned. Party committee meetings must be divided into two categories: standing committee meetings and plenary sessions, and the two should not be confused. Furthermore, we must take care that neither collective leadership nor personal responsibility is overemphasized to the neglect of the other. In the army, the person in command has the right to make emergency decisions during battle and when circumstances require. Quotation from On Strengthening the Party Committee System, September 20th, 1948. Selected Works, Volume 4. pp. 267-68. And again, there is the asterisk here that I noted in quite a few of the quotes from the previous chapter. However, as I recall, that appears to indicate that the phrasing in the translation has been edited from the original source. So in the original source, were we to look at it, it would not be phrased in the same manner. It has been changed in terms of the interpretation of the translation, but the root term meaning is effectively the same. We continue. The secretary of a party committee must be good at being a squad leader. A party committee has 10 to 20 members. It is like a squad in the army, and the secretary is like the squad leader. It is indeed not easy to lead this squad well. Each regional bureau or sub-regional bureau of the Central Committee now leads a vast area and shoulders very heavy responsibilities. To lead means not only to decide general and specific policies, but also to devise correct methods of work. Even with correct general and specific policies, troubles may still arise if methods of work are neglected. To fulfill its task of exercising leadership, a party committee must rely upon its squad members and enable them to play their part to the full. To be a good squad leader, the secretary should study hard and investigate thoroughly. A secretary or deputy secretary will find it difficult to direct his squad well if he does not take care to do propaganda and organizational work among his own squad members. Is not good at handling his Okay, I'm going to reread that sentence from the beginning because the phrasing is somewhat peculiar. It doesn't flow very well. A secretary or deputy secretary will find it difficult to direct his squad well if he does not take care to do propaganda and organizational work among his own squad members, is not good at handling his relations with committee members, or does not study how to run meetings successfully. There, that's better. If the squad members do not match in step, they can never expect to lead tens of millions of people in fighting and construction. Of course, the relation between the secretary and the committee members is one in which the minority must obey the majority. So it is different from the relation between a squad leader and his men. Here, we speak only by way of analogy. Quotations from Methods of Work of Party Committees, March 13th, 1949. Selected Works, Volume 4, page 375. Place problems on the table. This should be done not only by the squad leader, but by the committee members too. Do not talk behind people's backs. Whenever problems arise, call a meeting, place the problems on the table for discussion, take some decisions, and the problems will be resolved. If problems exist and are not placed on the table, they shall remain unsolved for a long time and even drag on for many years. The squad leader and the committee members should show understanding in their relations with each other. Nothing is more important than mutual understanding, support, and friendship between the secretary and the committee members, between the central committee and its regional bureaus, and between the regional bureaus and the area party committees. IBID, pp. 377-78, which is to say, this too comes from Methods of Work of Party Committees, circa March 13th, 1949. We continue. Exchange information. This means that members of a party committee should keep each other informed and exchange views on matters that have come to their attention. This is of great importance in achieving a common language. Some fail to do so, and, like the people described by Lao Tzu, do not visit each other all their lives, though the crowing of their cocks and the barking of their dogs are within hearing of each other. The result is that they lack a common language. Ibid, page 378. That's 378. Ask your subordinates about matters you don't understand or don't know, and do not lightly express your approval or disapproval. We should never pretend to know what we do not know. We should not feel ashamed to ask and learn from people below, and we should listen carefully to the views of the cadres at the lower levels. Be a pupil before you become a teacher. Learn from the cadres at the lower levels before you issue orders. What the cadres at the lower levels say may or may not be correct. After hearing it, we must analyze it. We must heed the correct views and act upon them. Listen also to the mistaken views from below. It is wrong not to listen to them all. Such views, however, are not to be acted upon, but to be criticized. Ibid, pp. 378-79. Learn to play the piano. In playing the piano, all 10 fingers are in motion. It won't do to move some fingers only and not others. But if all 10 fingers press down at once, there is no melody. To produce good music, the 10 fingers should move rhythmically and in coordination. A party committee should keep a firm grasp on its central task, and at the same time, around the central task. It should unfold the work in other fields. At present, we have to take care of many fields. We must look after the work in all of the areas, armed units and departments, and not give all of our attention to a few problems, to the exclusion of others. Wherever there is a problem, we must put our finger on it, and this is a method we must master. Some play the piano well, and some badly, and there is a great difference in the melodies they produce. Members of party committees must learn to, quote, play the piano, end quote, well. Ibid, page 379. So here he's using piano as a metaphor for good governance, I would say. Anyway, continuing. Grasp firmly, that is to say, the party committee must not merely grasp, but must grasp firmly its main tasks. One can get a grip on something only when it is grasped firmly, without the slightest slackening. Not to grasp firmly is not to grasp at all. Naturally, one cannot get a grip on something with an open hand. When the hand is clenched, as if grasping something but is not clenched tightly, there is still no grip. Some of our cadres do grasp the main tasks, but their grasp is not firm, and so they cannot make a success of their work. It will not do to have no grasp at all, nor will it do if the grasp is not firm. Ibid. Have a head for figures. That is to say, we must attend to the quantitative aspect of a situation or problem, and make a basic quantitative analysis. Every quality manifests itself in a certain quantity, and without quantity there can be no quality. To this day, many of our cadres still do not understand that they must attend to the quantitative aspect of things, the basic statistics, the main percentages, and the quantitative limits that determine the qualities of things. They have no quote-unquote figures in their heads, and as a result cannot help making mistakes. Ibid, pp. 379-80. Notice to reassure the public. Notice of meetings should be given beforehand. This is like issuing a notice to reassure the public so that everyone will know what is going to be discussed and what problems are to be solved, and can make timely preparations. In some places, meetings of cadres are called without first preparing reports and draft resolutions, and only when people have arrived for the meeting are makeshifts improvised. This is just like the saying, quote, troops and horses have arrived, but food and fodder are not ready, end quote. And that is no good at all. Don't call a meeting in a hurry if the preparations are not completed. Ibid, page 380. Fewer and better troops and simpler administration. Talks, speeches, articles, and resolutions should all be concise and to the point. Meetings also should not go on too long. Ibid. Pay attention to uniting and working with cadres who differ from you. This should be borne in mind, both in the localities and in the army. It also applies to relations with people outside the party. We have come together from every corner of the country, and should be good at uniting in our work, not only with comrades who hold the same views as well, but also with those who hold differing views. Ibid. Guard against arrogance, for anyone in a leading position. This is a matter of principle and an important condition for maintaining unity. Even those who have made no serious mistakes and have achieved very great success in their work should not be arrogant. Ibid. Draw two lines of distinction. First, between revolution and counter-revolution, between Yan'an and Xi'an. Here we have an editor's note. Yan'an was the headquarters of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China from January 1937 to March 1947. Xi'an was the center of the reactionary rule of the Kuomintang in northwestern China. Comrade Mao Zedong cited the two cities as symbols of revolution and counter-revolution. Continuing. Some do not understand that they must draw this line of distinction. For example, when they combat bureaucracy, they speak of Yan'an as though nothing is right there and fail to make a comparison and distinguish between the bureaucracy in Yan'an and the bureaucracy in Xi'an. Well, actually, it's spelled Xi'an here, so I may be pronouncing that wrong. Terribly sorry. The bureaucracy in Xi'an. This is fundamentally wrong. Secondly, within the revolutionary ranks, it is necessary to make a clear distinction between right and wrong, between achievements and shortcomings, and to make clear which of the two is primary and which is secondary. For instance, do the achievements amount to 30% or to 70% of the whole? It will not do either to understate or to overstate. We must have a fundamental evaluation of a person's work and establish whether his achievements amount to 30% and his mistakes to 70%, or vice versa. If his achievements amount to 70% of the whole, then his work should in the main be approved. It would be entirely wrong to describe work in which the achievements are primary as work in which the mistakes are primary. In our approach to problems, we must not forget to draw these two lines of distinction between revolution and counter-revolution, and between achievements and shortcomings. We shall be able to handle things well if we bear these two distinctions in mind. Otherwise, we shall confuse the nature of the problems. To draw these distinctions well, careful study and analysis are of course necessary. Our attitude towards every person and every matter should be one of analysis and study. Ibid, page 381. In the sphere of organization, ensure democracy under centralized guidance. It should be done on the following lines. 1. The leading bodies of the party must give a correct line of guidance and find solutions when problems arise, in order to establish themselves as centers of leadership. 2. The higher bodies must be familiar with the situation in the lower bodies and the life of the masses so as to have an objective basis for correct guidance. 3. No party organizations at any level should make casual decisions in solving problems. Once a decision is reached, it must be firmly carried out. 4. All decisions of any importance made by the party's higher bodies must be promptly transmitted to the lower bodies and the party rank and file. 5. The lower bodies of the party and the party rank and file must discuss the higher bodies' directives in detail in order to understand their meaning thoroughly and decide on the methods of carrying them out. Quotation from On Correcting Mistaken Ideas in the Party, December 1929, Selected Works, Volume 1, page 109. This concludes Chapter 10. Chapter 11, The Mass Line, will be enclosed in the following video of this series. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.